Okay, your host again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll just wait to get to the top of the hour and make sure it refreshes well.
Right. Oh, I can't wait. It's Friday.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little bit more working on one of my courses and then enjoy the sunshine today. It's so nice out there.
Yeah, I just walked the dogs. I just had lunch. So it was sunny, but it also had like a nice breeze. So it's not warm at all.
Not too hot. Yeah, we're going to work on our garden, our balcony garden this weekend.
Cool.
Get our seeds planted because it's warm enough now at nighttime that the seeds can start to do their thing. Yeah, we're going to grow strawberries. We have these water towers, like you don't have to have soil in them, and they get the minerals. The plants get the minerals from the water, like you put minerals in the water. And we have 2 towers, so we're gonna do a whole tower just of strawberries this year.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had more green thumb because I love having fresh things, but I kill everything. I kill everything.
Yeah. I'm not great with we're getting better. We're learning. And every season is different. That's the thing. You know how farmers, they always have like, if it's a good crop and not a good crop because of weather. Like last year we had it warm up and then 2 weeks of cold snap. And it killed all the buds on my nectarine, my little nectarine tree. It didn't get one single piece of fruit last year. So we'll see. There we go.
And we are live, so
everything's good. Yeah, thank you.
You guys have a great class.
Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone. 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, it's probably afternoon for some of you. Hi, Selva. Nice to see you again. Anthony, nice to have you. We are live this morning as well. So come on in, get yourself settled, get yourself maybe a big glass of water, or if you're still having your smoothie, I'm having my vegetable smoothie still. It's a little slow. I'm slow at drinking this. It's a meal in a mug, I think. Okay. Hopefully we have some people that will put their cameras on, so it just helps me. It helps actually when I'm teaching, if I can actually see people. And it's just nicer. I'd say it's nicer. Hi, Bernice. And Barbara's got some beautiful tulips behind her. I think those are tulips. Yeah, that looks neat. Love it. Love the backgrounds. I love to see people's backgrounds. Henrietta's back. Oh, I feel like I'm spending all morning with some of you. That's awesome. Hello, Sharon. It's great. It's great to see people all morning. Why not?
When you find find the class interesting and useful to you, you'll try and turn up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think it's great to take the same class a couple times, you know. It just, there's that familiarity. It just makes more sense. Like since the last class, because Henrietta and Selva were both at the last class, and maybe a few other, and Martha too. Yeah, I recognize Martha. I have already updated those slides. I've sent out the post email to you, updated the slides to say more like lower, not loss of appetite, but decreased appetite, because it sort of decreases, not necessarily, you don't lose it completely.
But
so
isn't it the lack of appetite that leads to decrease? I think
I guess so. I just changed it so it doesn't, so people don't think like they'll just have no appetite. Anyways, it's all to do with nutrition and things. Today's class, we're all here for 7 healing foods and 7 simple recipes. We've got some learners here that were in my last class on basic nutrition, which will be on the schedule again next week. So I'm going to hit my record button, get us all recorded.
Okay.
So welcome. let's get ourselves started. We still have a couple more people coming in. So welcome to everybody that's in class today, and welcome to all of you that are live streaming in to check out this class. It's a fun one, and there's a special little treat I give you at the end that will come in the post email, which will be a little booklet with all 7 recipes that will go with the healing foods we're going to talk about today. So for those of you live streaming, try and register for my future class, and so that you can get that, because I don't know who you are, so I can't send that out to you. So I will start by sharing my screen. And there we are. So just to make sure we're all in the right spot, make sure there's a lot of classes on the schedule now. So yeah, there's so much to choose from. Wow, I was just checking it out earlier this morning, and there's a couple classes in there I'd love to try and take myself, which is awesome, because even as teachers, like as guides, we call ourselves guides, we can take classes. I've taken some of my coworkers' classes, colleagues, I guess I would say. I like the word colleague better than coworker. So 7 healing foods, 7 simple recipes. That's what today's class is about. My name is Ravina. I'm one of the guides here at Get Set Up. You've probably met me by now, unless there's anybody brand new to Get Set Up here today, or maybe brand new to me. Maybe somebody hasn't done a class with me yet.
Brand new to you.
Okay, Barbara, good. Well, nice to have you. Nice to have you. And same with Lil, brand new to me. Okay, well, it's going to be exciting. I like my classes to be energetic and engaging, and, the hour goes by so quickly. Certainly you can take a few little notes. If you've got to get up to go use the loo, just feel comfortable to just be yourself, drink your water, be casual, put your camera on if you'd like to, if you're feeling good. It's great to see new faces. I don't think I've seen Callie before. It's great to see Callie and Lil and Loretta. I don't think I've seen you all before. So I have a nursing background and a functional nutrition background. I've loved anything to do with health since I was like a young girl. My biggest thing is I used to say to my mom, why is that person so happy? Like, why do they look healthy compared to this uncle and that uncle? And so I was always asking questions about health. So it made sense that I ended up going into nursing. So one of the things why I love to ask you guys to put your cameras on if you can. Now, Dorothy, maybe she's at work, maybe, or somewhere where she's got to wear her mask. Yep. Okay. That's what I figured. So we learn from each other. So when we see each other, it's great. We can get to know each other. We get familiar with each other. We might see each other in other classes, and it's kind of fun. It's a community. Get Set Up is a community. It's a place for lifelong learners. So why not make some friends? I have made many friends actually with everybody. And speaking of friends and colleague, let me say, colleague, we've got John here today from Get Set Up. He's our support guy. He's going to be in the chat if you have any questions or any sort of technical questions. So there you go. And we are recording. You can ask for and you can send an email to help@getsetup.io if you'd like a copy. And then also, I mentioned the live streaming, and also just to know that if I do talk about a product or service, we don't get paid or get kickbacks for anything. So just so you're aware of that. So today we're going to understand the healing power of food. We're also going to learn about 7 healing foods for vibrant living. And these are 7 that I have chosen that are my favorites, and also ones that I feel are pretty accessible to most of us. Now, some of us might live in very remote areas, and maybe certain things are not available, or certain things during certain seasons aren't available. So keep that in mind, but I am going to talk about these 7 foods, and we're going to talk about 7 recipes at the end. We'll go through the recipe booklet, and that's the exact booklet you will receive in an email from me. It is in PDF form. PDF form is a good form, so you can print it, you can look at it on your screen or on your phone, and I think PDF, you can, on your phone, you can scroll and make it bigger. So if you don't have a printer and you just like to, save a tree and use your phone to look it up, or your computer, you've got it. So let's get started. I want to ask this quick question. Have any of you used a food to heal a body ailment or a symptom you might have had? Anybody?
Yes.
All right, Sharon, what have you used? What have you used, and what did you use it for?
I've used like chamomile tea. I don't know if teas count for
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and I like blueberries because blueberries seem to give me extra energy.
Oh, excellent. Good to hear that. Well, I can tell you, if you haven't taken my optimal brain health class, the optimal brain health blueberries, and my mentor, Jim Quick, calls them brainberries because blueberries are so packed full of antioxidants. Yeah, it energizes us. And it also helps to fight the free radicals in our body. So it actually heals us from boosting our immune system. So great. Anybody else have anything, like maybe something your mom used or your grandma?
Blackberries are really good for immune system too.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, blackberry. I mean, all berries are so great for us, that beautiful dark rich colors that most of the berries are in. I mean, I enjoy berries like raspberries and strawberries, and a lot of other berries are just packed full of vitamins and minerals. But for specific use of like a symptom or a body ailment, we're going to learn some kind of interesting and common ones. So
I find yogurt is real soothing to my stomach if it's upset.
okay, yeah, and that could be yeah, there could be something in there that helps to maybe coat your stomach. It's like a buffer almost. Yeah.
Pineapples for stomach also.
Okay, yeah. You know, you can see sometimes supplements in the health food store for the pineapple, because there's enzymes in pineapple that helps with our digestion. So that's a common, or something that people use. And same with papaya. There's some really good enzymes in papaya. If anybody eats that helps us to break down and improve our digestion.
And ginger.
Yeah, and we might be talking about that soon. So, all right, so let's get moving on. And let's put that above my time so I can see it. So let's just talk for a minute about the healing power of food. We forget sometimes that our food can be very healing. Now, I'm talking about functional food. So just for a simple lesson, functional food versus non-functional, what would be considered a non-functional food? Does anybody have an example? It's kind of how we learn. I learn it like that in the nutrition program I'm doing right now, but non-functional foods would be things like chips. You know, for the most part, chips are not functional. They're not adding minerals and vitamins to our bodies. Like chips are just chips. They're kind of like that kind of non-food sort of thing. We still call it a food, but a way to describe it would say non-functional food. So you think about it in your week or your day, how many non-functional foods are you actually eating? So when we talk about functional foods, we're talking about the healing power of foods. We're talking about natural, nutrient-dense foods. And these foods help to protect against and mitigate and even cure some chronic diseases. So those lifestyle diseases that we can reverse. It also slows down the effect of aging and helps to promote longevity. So help us to live longer and healthier, right? We don't want to just live longer. We want to live longer, healthier lives. You know, for some of us who may have had a really rough, working life, raising kids and working at the same time and not making ourselves number one, maybe our health was not where we would like it to be. But now we're in our 60s and we're, early retirement or semi-retired. Now we can focus on us. Isn't that nice? We can focus on ourselves. Now, for those of you who have made yourself kind of number one, which we all should make ourselves number one throughout our lifestyle, life plan, that's fine. But, when we get into our older years, my whole premise is about vibrant living. And that's what I study and that's what I promote. Outside, I get set up as well. I promote vibrant living. So my brand is all about vibrant living. And when we look at healing foods, we look at the nutrient-dense foods, which you see up on the screen. But what does that mean exactly? Because I've had this question come up twice now in different classes. So nutrient-dense are foods that are dense, packed full of nutrients. So they're packed full of vitamins and minerals. Now, to give you the example, just to go back to the whole thing about the non-functional bag of chips, for example, you eat chips. Okay, so you say, okay, so what? I have a little treat once in a while, no big deal. Yeah, I'm not getting vitamins and minerals, but who cares? Well, guess what? Whatever you put into your mouth, your body has to process. how does your body processing the bag of chips? It needs vitamins, it needs certain minerals to process that food. Processing meaning helping with digestion and getting it going through your whole entire system and then pooping it out. You need energy, you need vitamins and minerals to do that process. So what happens if you eat a non-functional food that doesn't have vitamins and minerals?
It
cannot-
robs your body.
Yeah, it needs to find vitamins and minerals to do their process, to do the process. So if it can't get it from the actual food you're eating, it has to go into your stores in your body. Now, what if you haven't been eating that great for the last 3 months or 4 months or a year? What are your stores like? Are your stores up to like, high amounts of vitamin A and vitamin C and vitamin E, or are they all down low?
No, they are down.
They're down. So if you eat non-functional food, you're just basically giving your body work to like process something that it's not even giving you anything great, but fine. Okay. My weakness is chips. I have a bag of chips once in a while. So my body goes into the stores, grabs the vitamin A, grabs the selenium, whatever minerals and vitamins it needs, and it takes it from the stores and digests the bag of chips. What if I'm having a bag of chips every day? Then guess what? I'm going and tapping into my stores every single day. So when you eat a nutrient dense food, like a banana, for example, bananas are packed full of potassium and all sorts of minerals and vitamins. It uses some of it to process it, but there's surplus. Isn't that exciting? Nutrient dense foods have surpluses of vitamins and minerals. So now you can put that vitamin D or vitamin A or vitamin C, build it up in your stores. Now, one of the issues, and I'll just mention it because it came to my head just now. Some vitamins are fat soluble. Some vitamins are water soluble. What does that mean? That means if it's fat soluble, like vitamin E, we can store it in our bodies. It sits in our fat. If it's a water soluble vitamin, guess what happens?
It passes away. And
Yeah. So what that means is vitamin B, for example. Vitamin B is a water soluble vitamin. So if you take vitamin B in your food and you have extra, you can't really store it. It just gets peed out. Basically, it goes out in your urine. So keep that in mind, that there's certain things we can build our stores up in our body, but some things we've got to make sure we're continuously getting those great complex vitamin Bs for our health. So nutrient dense foods are the healing foods. And why are they considered healing foods? Well, we'll look at the next slide, because they also help to decrease inflammation in your body. Now, some of us may, or most of us, and I'm glad to see Sharon's eating a banana. That's awesome. All that potassium, that's great. No, it's really good. So here's the thing about inflammation in the body. I'm going to just mention this too. A lot of us, like if we bang our arm or our leg, you bang your leg on the foot of the bed, let's say, and it swells up a little bit and it's like swollen and inflamed, inflammation, redness and swelling. Guess what? We have that inflammation inside our bodies. We can't see it. We might feel it, but we can't see it. So how do we know how much inflammation we have in our body? What signs do we know when we've got inflammation inside our body?
Okay, I don't know that.
Swelling. What about bloating? We get bloatiness in our stomach.
Yeah,
Stomach bloats out.
Yeah.
What about when we get puffiness in our faces? Get puffiness. Other signs of inflammation. You might have blood work done recently, and when the doctor says, "Well, your white blood cell count is high," because it's trying to fight some kind of infection or inflammation inside your body. There is a blood test you can get done and it sometimes is already part of your panel, but you can ask your doctor to do your the letter C dash reactive protein, C reactive protein. That will tell you how much inflammation you have in your body. And I can guarantee if you've been following a lot of my health and wellness classes and you've been like, wow, I need to eat more of the rainbow and I need to bring in some good vegetables and fruits. I can guarantee you most of the time, if you've been increasing your vitamins, your fruits and vegetables, so getting more vitamins and minerals, you're eating nutrient dense foods, which is bringing down inflammation. And if you did get that C reactive protein tested, it probably will come down from eating dense foods like what we're talking about today. So there you go. That's just a kind of little lesson on the healing power of foods. I like to break it right down, you know, unpack it right down to the nitty gritty, so you really understand it, to the point that you can now explain it to your partner, or you can teach your neighbor. So everything you learn when you learn these things in Get Set Up, first of all, invite them to come to Get Set Up. But if they can't do that, anything you learned, go and teach it. As soon as you've learned it, is a great way to get it into your brain and into you is to go and teach it to somebody else, or look up and add to what you just learned. Okay, so healing power of foods. There are some really amazing doctors out there now that they went through med school, they did the regular, you know, doctor med classes and got their degrees, but they've decided that they want to focus in on nutrition as being the center of their practice. Dr. Mark Hyman is a very well-known doctor. You've probably seen him on TV, maybe on Dr. Oz. He's been on different programs. He has a podcast. He's very popular. He really feels that strongly about using nutrition as the central part of healthcare. So if you were to see him as a patient, he would look at your whole, like, what are you eating to start off? Forget about starting you on medication. He wants to see, what are you eating? Another doctor, Dr. Axe, he's quite a popular guy. He says, what you put in your grocery cart has the hugest impact on your overall health. So keep that in mind next time you're grocery shopping. And maybe you're thinking, I should buy this for the kids or for the grandkids, or, you know, my partner's going to be upset if I don't pick up his favorite bag of chips, or I don't want to be down on chips. That just happens to be my weakness. I love chips, by the way. So like, maybe it's like, I don't know, something more sugary, or just like that treat. You always have to have that. The muffins. How about the bought muffins versus making your own muffins? Like, you know that there's a lot of probably additives to bought muffins that are probably not great for your health. But anyway, so here's two doctors, Dr. Hyman and Dr. Axe, who both are very, very into nutrition as a healing power, healing force. So let's get going, because I want to have a lot of time to talk about the recipes at the end. Oh, Martha, you have a question.
I don't want to brag, but sometimes I have people at the grocery store say, I wish I had in my cart what you have in your cart.
I love that. Isn't that something exciting?
I'm not
so
perfect.
Isn't that great? So they see what you got in your cart, and they're just like a little envious, maybe going, wow, she's got some pretty powerful healing foods in there, and I've got crap in my cart.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm embarrassed. Like, there's some, we don't do this anymore because it became a behavior, like a habit. Now, which is the class that I talk about habits and routines? I can't even remember now. I'm teaching a few different classes. When we do something repeatedly, it becomes like it's a routine, and we do it repeatedly, becomes a habit. It became a habit for me that Friday nights for us was our go out to eat night, and also our eat crap night. Like, after, like, desserts and chips. Oh, even worse, if I go on a road trip, even if it's a road trip to go on the ferry over to Vancouver, what do I have to have in the car? I have to have chips. Like, it's not a road trip without chips. Like, why is it that when okay, let's think back. This is reminiscing of the days when we could go to the movie theater, because that's one of the things I really, really, really miss right now, going to the movies. Why is it that when I go to the movies, I have to sit there and feed my face while I'm watching a 2-hour movie? It's a habit, right? We get into these habits. So I would be embarrassed at the grocery store when I'm grabbing my chips to have for my road trip, and I've got like 3 different bags of different types of chips. Non-functional foods, as we've learned today, right? Non-functional versus functional. And there's Martha with her cart. She's got functional foods in there, and people are like noticing. Isn't that neat? They're noticing. All right, let's get started. 7 healing foods. My first one, don't be surprised, apples.
Oh, I don't eat it.
Okay, well, let's talk about apples. Let's talk about them. That saying, do we remember that saying from like quite a while ago? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's a real saying, and it's there's some real truth to that. And we're going to find out why. Apples, first of all, I picked apples because A, I love apples. And secondly, apples to me it's just one of those fun fruits. Like you can cut it up, you can, you know, it's nice when it's all sliced up. I don't necessarily like to eat an apple anymore. I like it all sliced up in my little bowl. You can put a little bit of nut butter with it, like a peanut butter and almond butter. Apples kind of like, my husband does weird things. Like he'll make toast and we'll put almond butter and he'll slice apples, and he likes to mix the apple with stuff. But anyways, however you want to eat it. Why are apples so amazing? Well, they're high in pectin, which is a fiber. You get that beautiful soluble fiber, and it helps when you're eating the food and you're swallowing the apple, that fiber that helps to clean your pipes, clean the system. Apples are number one for that. Also, apples are amazing for heart health. So if you have any kind of issues with heart disease or it runs in your family, apples are amazing. So that apple a day keeping the doctor away is like a really kind of a real truth to that. I know some people who, you know, maybe their diet's not great in other ways, but they make sure they eat their apple a day. They eat their 7 apples a week. And for some reason, they don't have to go to the doctor as much. They have good bathroom experiences. They don't have any other those issues. Their digestion is good because you're getting your good amount of fiber into your body. Hey, I know people have done like, I'm going to eat 2 apples a day. I'm not going to change anything else in my life, but I'm going to eat 2 apples a day. I can tell you their health has been dramatically changed just by adding apples. So if I haven't sold the apple on you yet, I don't know if I have yet. For those of you that haven't had, okay, Sharon's giving me a thumbs up. Another thing about apples, guess what? Are we not lucky? Are there not like at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 8 different types of apples in our grocery store?
Yeah.
So if you hate green apples, don't eat green apples. Go eat the Braeburn apples. Go eat the Fuji apples. Go try. Oh, have you guys tried Opal? Opal apples? They're yellow, not mealy. They have this sweetness to them. They almost taste like tangerine or like some kind of citric is mixed in there. We call them up here Opal, like OPAL, but there might be a different brand. But try different apples. There's one called Honeycrisp. Has anybody tried a Honeycrisp apple? Oh my gosh, they're expensive in our store here in Canada. Like they're like 3 times more expensive than their average apple, but boy, do they taste good. Yeah. All right. That's going to be my rant on apples. The second healing food, ginger.
I did this before.
Is anybody a fan of ginger? Like, do people like ginger? I do now. I never did when I was a kid. I hated it as a kid.
I do.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
I make a drink with ginger. I make cucumber water, and I put a little ginger and a little mint and a little lemon in it, and it's very refreshing.
Nice, very nice. So ginger can have quite a strong flavor. Now, when I was a kid, I hated it. If I bit into it, if my mom made a stir fry, oh, it was gross. I'd like, what is this? And because it was hot in my mouth as a kid. Now, as an adult, I'm like, oh, I kind of like ginger. And out of the 7 foods I'm giving you today, I would put ginger as not my top one, because you'll get to see what my top one is. There's not in any order here but number 2, like the most healing would be my second most healing food is ginger in this group of 7. So ginger's been around for years and years. The compound in it is called gingerols, which is easy to remember. Sounds almost fake. Gingerols is the compound. And what it does is has the ability to get into the digestive tract and go into the receptors and plug itself into those receptors to stop the nausea. That's where the nausea would park itself. But if you eat ginger, the gingerol compound takes the place in those receptors and stops the nausea. So the neat thing about this is that ginger is kind of proactive. So you can pre-take ginger to help you if you know you're going to go on a big long car ride or on a bus or on a plane or on a ship, anything what might make you feel nauseous, or say you ate a little bit too much. You didn't stop at the 80% full kind of thing that we all try to do, right? Eat 75 to 80% and then stop eating. If you went to like 110%, let's say, for a meal and you're feeling like gross, you could have some ginger afterwards, and that could maybe help with the digestion and bring down that nausea. So as I
Ginger ale
say,
help? I'm sorry, just
well,
ginger ale? help?
yeah, no, you know, that is, I think the ginger ale, I don't want to say if anybody drinks pop here, you know, good on you, but like pop usually has so much sugar in it. So the reason why, and you're probably remembering this as a kid, maybe Sharon, we would get a little bit of ginger ale to make us feel better. And it kind of became like a little bit of a thing when you're a kid. And your parents would go, okay, well, they're not drinking, they're not eating ice, whatever. I'll give them a little bit of ginger ale. There's something to it. There's how much ginger, is there actual ginger in ginger ale? Probably true ginger ale, maybe there's ginger, but it's because of the ginger, not the actual pop really. But for years and years, cultures like Asian cultures have used ginger very therapeutically for nausea and aiding in digestion. And
Do you get the same benefit if you use the ginger spice versus fresh ginger?
Well, the fresh ginger is going to have more punch than, say, powdered ginger. So for what I'm talking about buying the actual ginger and slicing little bits and putting it in your stir fry or in your soup or whatever you're cooking. They even feel that ginger has some relief for arthritis. So you might want to try that if you have arthritis, and also protection from cancer because of the compound in ginger. So that's all really amazing stuff. My little tip for you is if you're not a big keen ginger person yet, fresh ginger, buy it, break a little piece off, use it, put it in a little freezer bag, put it in your freezer up to about 3 months, and then you won't waste your ginger, because ginger root will go bad eventually. It does, you know, lose its potency, right? And then this isn't ginger, but this is an example. You've got your ginger. It's hard to peel it, right? Because it's very bumpy. So take a teaspoon, the back of a teaspoon, and scrape the skin off it like this. You would scrape the skin and then get your fresh ginger. That's a way to save your ginger so you don't like peel off too much of it, or using a knife. Sometimes you can cut most of it off. So just take the back of a spoon. That's my little tip for you, my second tip for you. Okay, so we'll get to the recipes at the end, but we'll make sure we have enough time. So the third one is garlic. I hope you all love garlic. Garlic's just like my all-time favorite delicious food. When I smell garlic, when somebody's cooking, oh my gosh, you know how when you're walking outside and you walk by, I don't know, a restaurant or something, you can smell the garlic being cooked. Oh, so nice. Brings me, it makes me hungry for sure. So garlic's therapeutic compound, like we know ginger's got gingerols, and garlic's name is not as fun as gingerols, but garlic's name is Allison. That is what is in garlic. Now, garlic, you might remember from back in the day, maybe your grandma or your mom gave it to you if you had an infection or you had a cold. They'd try and get some garlic into you. Does anybody remember that? Like, it's very good. Why is it good for infection and colds? Because it is anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral. So it helps to get rid of things or stop things from growing, like viruses and bacteria and microbes. So it's a very healing food, garlic. And we can get garlic in the store pretty much anytime, right? Garlic is it's accessible, and there's all sorts of garlic. You get local garlic, you get Russian garlic, that big beautiful like sort of purpley bulbs of garlic. Oh, it tastes amazing, these bulbs of garlic. I mean, we get garlic from just about every country here in Canada, but I like to try and find the local garlic when I can, because it's just, you know, hasn't traveled thousands and thousands of miles, and it hasn't been picked when maybe it's not quite ready and things like, you know, all those things.
May I ask a question?
You sure can.
Is like the dehydrated and regular minced garlic as healthy as natural garlic? Well,
I'm glad you asked that question. So I always say, if you can get it fresh, fresh is best. Fresh is best. But here's one thing I would say not to get, because I tried it just to test it out. and I didn't like it. Okay, here's what I tried. I got the garlic that's been peeled already, and it was on a tray. And I'll say I got it from Walmart because that's the store I saw it in. And it was all this peeled garlic on a tray. And I thought, oh, that saves me tons of time. It didn't taste that great. The flavor was not there for me. It felt like it was old. Now, the minced garlic that's been put in some kind of oil, I think that one could be almost as good as the fresh. It's kind of like it's been flash done, right? It's like flash frozen fruits and vegetables are just about as good as fresh because it's in the fresh peak time. They flash freeze it and now it's ready. You pull it out and it's going to be fresh, like almost like fresh. So to answer your question, Edmund, I think that when the garlic has been chopped and put in an oil to preserve it, it might be almost as good. So if you have a trouble finding fresh garlic all the time and you want it to be fast for your cooking, try the one in the oil versus the peeled one sitting in a tray or in a container. I hope that answers your question. So garlic's been linked to helping with cardiovascular health, prevention for cancer, again, because it's kind of killing the microbes and the bacteria and all the stuff that we maybe don't want. Also at controlling hypertension. And what's the other word for hypertension? Is high blood pressure, right? Hypertension's our high blood pressure. Treating colds and infections, which I just talked about. And also there's some research around preventing the neurodegenerative diseases. So diseases that affect our nerves. But for the most part, garlic is a powerful healing food. For me, as far as I'm concerned, the more garlic you have in something, the better. I mean, even garlic bread. I'm not even eating bread right now, but you put that nice butter and smash on real smashed garlic onto your garlic bread. It is like better than any garlic bread you'll ever buy in the store. You use your fresh garlic and put it on there. Martha, did you want to tell us a food story?
No. How do you get rid of the aftertaste of garlic?
Okay, well, yeah.
Times during the night because I blah.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, it might be something that's like, you know, you might feel weird if you've had too much. Just cut down the amount you're having, I would say. I mean, we all know that's the trick with well, this isn't it, but when, you know, those little stainless steel. Have you seen those little stainless steel rocks you can put when you wash your hands and then you wipe your fingers on the stainless steel? It takes the garlic and ginger and all that smell off your hands. That's a little like a hack for the kitchen. But for your body, Martha, if you're finding it is something's too garlicky, cut it in half.
No, it's just it's the taste.
It's the taste for you. Yeah, I would probably just cut it down if it. I mean, for me, the more the merrier. But if it's not for you, just cut down the amount you use. Don't cut it out completely because it is a healing food. The recipe I'm going to give you for garlic, you might like this one, and it might not be too strong for you. Dot, you have a question.
Hi, I just wanted to know if shallots and onions are also beneficial. And what I do with garlic, I peel the garlic and then I'm trimming the end.
Mm-hmm.
Then I run it through a food processor. And then I just add a little bit of oil and salt, just a tiny amount.
Yeah. And
then I put it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer. I do a similar thing with ginger because then it's like ready.
Yeah, excellent. That's a really, really great tip, Dot. And as Edmund just mentioned or asked about the buying the ginger or the garlic done. Yeah, I mean, if you got time, you can buy your favorite local garlic, chop it up like Dot, just either by hand or if you have a food processor, add in a little bit of salt and the oil and preserve it either in an ice cube tray or in a Ziploc bag like Dot does, or in a little container. And now you've got your own homemade garlic ready to go. So I think that's a really, really wonderful idea. So thank you for sharing that.
Excuse me, did you say that the jarred minced garlic is okay or not okay?
I think that for the most part it can be, but check your ingredients. Sometimes they add weird stuff. Like honestly, you know what things they add to everything? Sugar. They put actual processed, refined, terrible sugar in our potato patties, in our everything. I'm doing a thing where I'm not eating any sugar right now, so I have to read every single ingredient. You'd be surprised. So read your ingredients that's in your garlic. Do you want that chemical in your garlic oil thing? Is it necessary? Probably not. You could do what Dot just described and create your own little jar of cut garlic ready to go. Why not? All right, let's move on so we don't run out of time. Sorry.
Did you say that the shallots and onions are also beneficial?
Sorry, I didn't mention that. Shallots and onions. Shallots are a little sweeter than regular onions. They can be. They also have healing powers. It's not what I'm talking about today out of the 7, but maybe if I did another 7 healing foods, there are some benefits and healing benefits to onions and shallots. Absolutely. So the 4th one is our, oh, John, did you want it? There's something in the chat probably. Did you, let me just stop sharing for 1 second. Okay, yeah, I should try to keep my chat open. Frozen, okay, so yeah, the frozen cubes of garlic recommended. Like you can produce, you can get it ready like that, just like Dot had mentioned. If you've got fresh garlic and you want to prepare it so you could just get all your garlic handling all done at once and then use it for your cooking for the next month or 2. Absolutely. Anything that's going to be a hack for you to, like I do that with spinach or my dark greens. Like I will get them all ready and put them in ice cube trays. And then when I make my smoothie, I just grab 1 cube out of my Ziploc bag into my smoothie. I don't have to sit there and cut up, you know, spinach every day, right? That takes a while if you just want to make your smoothie. And some people have gotten some ideas here with a hot ginger tea. Absolutely. Okay, and I'm just going to write down one thing here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. It's hard when we're teaching, when we're sharing our screen to see the chat. And I haven't discovered how to do that. I might just ask John to help me with that. We're getting, you know, we have to multitask a lot when we're teaching. Okay, so I think we're good. If I've missed your question, just try to put your hand up at the, you know, at the end and ask your question. Okay, the 4th food, blueberries. And we talked about blueberries already. My screen changes where people are, so I forget where they are. I think it was Sharon. You mentioned blueberries. Was it you? Yeah. So blueberries, that beautiful deep color, they're full of antioxidants. I can't tell you how important blueberries are in our diet. We are lucky we've got blueberries on our planet. Let's eat them. They're just delicious. And frozen is great. If you can't get fresh, buy frozen. You can buy organic frozen blueberries at just about any store now. And they are great at protecting our bodies and improving our immune system. They also have been known to lower our blood pressure. So if you've got a bit of hypertension, well, you don't have a bit of hypertension, you have hypertension or you don't have it. So if you've got hypertension or high blood pressure, blueberries can help. So in essence, they promote heart health, right? Because it's helping with our blood pressure. It helps to keep our heart in good shape. I have a really fun recipe with the blueberries. All right, salmon is my number 5. Probably a theme you're seeing in all of my health and wellness classes is I talk so much about omega-3s because it's something that's been forgotten and we don't think about needing. So salmon contains a lot of omega-3s, which is the fatty acid that we cannot manufacture in our bodies. So we must get it from our food. There is high anti-inflammatory properties in salmon. You know, when you have that salmon meal and you've made the little bit of rice and your veggies and you have salmon, you eat and you just feel fantastic. Unless you're allergic for some reason to it, you feel fantastic. You don't feel bloated. You don't feel as heavy as, say, if you've had red meat. Now, I'm not against red meat. I do eat red meat as well, but you just feel different when you have that fish meal. For some reason, I tend to like, sorry, I'm sharing my screen now. I tend to order fish when I go out because I feel like the chef at the restaurant's going to know how to cook it just perfectly and not overcook it, because that's something we do a lot of sometimes. And I just feel good after I eat a fish meal. And I think it's because it's lighter and it's just not so heavy. Okay. So we've got the omega-3s in salmon. Now, if you don't like salmon, you know, I suppose for your omega-3s, you can get it from nuts and seeds if that's an issue. But really, salmon is one of the top brain foods. If you're interested in knowing that, one of the top brain foods. So again, salmon is our protein, our vitamin B12, our B6, vitamin D, really high in vitamin D. So if that's something that you're low in, trying to eat salmon, even if it's the wild caught canned salmon. Selenium is one of the minerals that's high in salmon. And I would recommend trying to get fish in your diet at least once a week. Try for once a week. You know, many of us are, you know, maybe are not big fish fans. So like, even if you could try and get it in once every 2 weeks, just for some variety in your diet. All right, avocados is my number 6.
Excuse me, what about vegans?
Sorry?
I'm a vegan, so I don't eat any animals. So
okay, yeah, absolutely. So instead, for what I would give you for healing foods, then for your number 5, instead of salmon, for your omega-3s would be your flax seeds, your hemp seeds, your chia seeds, your walnuts, all the beautiful nuts, walnuts. So whatever food you're eating, just sprinkle a little bit of walnut on your salad. There's so many other ways to get omega-3s that do not involve eating an animal. So yeah, I mean, I picked salmon for the food because it's so healing when you get really good fresh caught salmon. But you know, there's many vegans out there and you know, that don't eat fish. So that would be, I would replace with. Avocado is my number 6 healing food. The fiber that's in avocado is so amazing and beautiful fiber that your body just loves. So if you like the flavor of avocado, go for it. It's got the healthy monounsaturated fats. And that's the fats that your body loves. That helps bring up the HDL, the good cholesterol in your body, versus the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. You want the HDL. You want that to be high. That is good cholesterol. We need cholesterol in our bodies to make our bodies healthy. We need it. We need it for functioning. We need it for some of the processing. We need it to lubricate parts of our body. So don't don't think, oh, all cholesterol is bad cholesterol. That's not true. Avocados are amazing at reducing inflammation. I have seen in the stores, you can buy frozen bits of avocado in a bag, and you can put that into your smoothies. Edmund, you have a question.
Yes. I know all about the healing properties and how good avocados are, because my grandmother was always at me trying to get me to eat them.
Okay.
To me, they don't taste that great.
Okay.
What kind of recipes would actually help enhance the taste?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's more of a texture, right? It's quite a smooth texture. People actually make ice cream with avocados. Now, I'm not giving you that recipe today, but the recipe I'm going to give you is so, excuse me, flavorful. I think you'll like it.
And brownies.
Mm-hmm. You can hide avocado in things. But here's one other little tip I'll say, because it's not part of the recipe. I learned this when I went to Mexico years ago. I was in the hills in Mexico, in Guadalajara, and I was at my friend's sister's place. They made beautiful fresh vegetable soups. And what did they do? Because they had an avocado tree. They cut pieces of avocado and put it into their soup. So as you're eating your soup, especially for an older person who maybe, you know, you're just trying to get more protein or more good fat into their diet, you eat the soup with little chunks of avocado in it, and it takes on the flavor of the soup, and it's just the smooth, delicious creaminess. Oh, it's so great in soup. So hide it in a smoothie, put it in your soup, put it in your brownies, someone just suggested, and you'll see the recipe I've got coming up.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. All right, and the last one, I want to just talk about this one because I'm going to share with you a very, very special recipe, and I'll explain it in a second. Turmeric. Now, who has not heard of turmeric? It's a spice, right? It's a spice. Well, turmeric is a root. It kind of almost looks like ginger. If you look at the picture, the turmeric is like a root. I don't recommend buying it as a root because it's very staining on your hands, and you don't need it in a root. The powder form is very potent. Now, remember I mentioned ginger being my number 2 top healing foods. Guess what number 1 is? It is turmeric. There are thousands of studies now, pure studies out there, peer-reviewed studies on the benefits of turmeric. It is amazing. Turmeric's amazing. So turmeric is kind of, I would say, the #1 thing to bring down inflammation in your body. So even if you don't think you might have inflammation, but intuitively you think you might have inflammation inside, like something's kind of inflamed, maybe you've got that bloatiness that always shows up, or a little bit of swelling in your ankles, and you just think something's not right inside. Turmeric, you add it into your food. You can put a little bit in your smoothie. It's quite a bitter thing. It's more for coloring. Like I just did it in my deviled eggs. You know, you do the hard-boiled eggs and you mix the egg yolks and stuff. I added a pinch of turmeric into it, and oh, it just brightened up the egg yolks. It was really, really good. They use turmeric coloring in Kraft Dinner now. You know how they were trying to up their game with Kraft Dinner, and you know, everybody knows the mac and cheese, you know, Kraft Dinner. That's what I'm talking about. They used to have food colorings in our Kraft Dinner. So now they actually use paprika and turmeric to color the cheese flavor, cheese thing. So it doesn't really change the taste. It just gives you that rich color. And it's a trick on the chefs too. You know, when chefs make scrambled eggs, or they do an omelet, they throw a pinch of turmeric in there to give it the color, because it just looks so much more healthy for us, right? And it is, if you're putting turmeric in it. So turmeric is the last one. So I'm gonna stop sharing for 1 second.
Can I ask a question about the turmeric?
Sure.
Me too.
How much would you say that you should have per day? And what do you think about the turmeric gummies?
And tablets.
Okay, so I'll say this real quick so we can get to the recipes. So turmeric is very, very powerful. It is one of those, you do want to talk to your doctor and let them know if you were going to take a supplement. There are amazing turmeric supplements out there. So if you're like sick and tired of the swelling in your knees and you want to try something different than just medication, my suggestion would be to talk to your doctor and see if you can start on turmeric pills. Turmeric in the capsules, you're getting quite a big dose, right? And you're taking that in daily. I don't think you can have too much turmeric. Gummy bears and things like that. The reason I'm not big on candied ginger and like gummy bears, I didn't even know there was such a thing with turmeric, but because I want you to read the ingredients and tell me, is sugar the #1 ingredient in your gummy bears?
I'll go look and see.
Because if it is, it's kind of like countering the benefit of the turmeric, because you're now putting added refined sugar into your body.
I'll check and see. And if you cook with the turmeric, how much should you use? You know, a day, a teaspoon? And does it dissipate once you cook it in something with a high temperature?
It doesn't dissipate. A whole teaspoon is quite a bit. Now, my recipe that I'm going to give you, the 7th recipe, has 2 teaspoons in. I wouldn't do more than like a teaspoon for a smoothie. I would put like a 1/4 teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon. Okay. It's very potent, and it can make things bitter. So just keep that in mind. All right. So here's the booklet you're going to get. So we're not going to go through every single like detail of every recipe, but this is the booklet. The first recipe with the apples is my chunky applesauce. And I explain how it's nice to have variety of apples. We always tend to just get the same apple, and it's like, oh, I got a leftover 5 apples of, you know, whatever apples they are, and you do that. Try mixing up your apples. It will make your applesauce taste different, like more full-bodied. Do me a favor and try it only once. If you hate it, fine. But if you give it a chance, if you use your slow cooker or crock pot, which we call it also here in Canada, I don't know if you call it crock pot, don't put sugar in it. Try it without zero sugar. Like, don't think, oh, I got to add a bit of sugar, it's going to be too tart. No, let the natural sugars from the apples come out and let it just like do the slow cook and taste your applesauce. And you'll realize that you don't really need to add sugar. But I want you to try that out if you try this recipe. The next one, for ginger, I just did a ginger tea because I feel like when somebody has got an upset stomach, or feel like they're going on this long bus ride and they're like, I don't want to get sick. Ginger in a tea is probably the easiest and fastest way to do it. Put a little bit of honey, put a little bit of lemon. Those 3 things go together hand in hand. And you can buy tea bags that actually are ready made already with ginger, lemon, and stuff like that. But I do give you the method of making a real proper cup of tea with this, and I give you the little notes here about drinking it pre a trip or pre situation where you think you might get nauseous. The third one, which might be good for, now I hate when all the names move around because then I have to look for the person, but who was it? She might be not even here anymore. The one that, oh, it was Martha. It was Martha. I think it was Martha, where the taste is too strong. Try it making creamy garlic mashed potatoes. You get the benefit of the garlic, but it's not like so overpowering for your body. And the potatoes kind of like, kind of coated in a sense so that you're not getting that much. I always had this really great recipe when I went out to like a steakhouse, you know, the expensive steakhouse, but why can't you make garlic mashed potatoes at home? Like this is a really fun recipe. And I mean, it's kind of 2 pages, a bit long. It's not that it takes a long time, but see how
That's
beautiful it is
good.
to roast garlic. This
That
is
is
how you roast
good.
garlic.
So good.
Yeah. So, so there you go. And Wanda just mentioned, yes, frozen avocado at Walmart. Yes, great value brand. It's in chunks. And so if you don't have fresh, if you live by yourself and a whole avocado, half of it goes to waste, you know, it oxidizes so fast. You want to have like frozen is a great alternative. I put frozen in my smoothie. That's what gives it that nice, smooth green look. All right, now blueberries. The recipe I've got for you is sorry, I'm moving the screen too much. Vinaigrette. It's a blueberry vinaigrette. I'm going to say stays fresh and lasts for about a week in the fridge. It's so delicious, you're going to eat it up. You can use this. So this is great for vegans too, Lil. And excuse me. You can save it in a bottle, put it in a bottle and like close it up in the fridge. You can put it on fish, you can put it on chicken, you can put it on your salad. It's just a lovely, and it just has that beautiful rich color. So you do need to have some type of fat, like not heavy duty blender, but like a NutriBullet or Magic Bullet or something like that to like really whiz it up to get the blueberries crushed down the way I want. Make sure you add your olive oil, okay? Because that's what emulsifies it, helps to make it smooth. If you don't add the oil, it will kind of stay separated. Michelle, you've got a question.
I do. Back to the avocados.
Yeah.
Can I freeze fresh avocados? Like, can I chop them up myself and put them in before they turn brown, or will they still
yes.
turn
No,
brown?
you absolutely can do it just like you're buying it like at Walmart or Costco. I bought my bag at Costco. So here's the trick. Take your cookie sheet, parchment paper, cut your avocado, do it quickly, put your slices on the cookie sheet, put it in the freezer and let them freeze individual first, then put it into your bag. Otherwise, if you put it in the bag, it'll be one big lump. So you got to freeze it separately.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, salmon. Here's a recipe. If you have a first time to fish, try this recipe. It's so beautiful. It's got a little bit of orange juice, it's got a little bit of maple syrup. It makes it so delicious. Even kids would eat the salmon because it's like, it takes away the fishy smell. It's got garlic in it. This is a really lovely recipe. It's very self-explanatory. My main thing on the tip for this is don't overcook your salmon. You think it's not cooked, but it is cooked. You flake it a little bit, and if it comes apart nicely, you know it's cooked. Don't overcook salmon because it will make it, it won't taste good. It will taste, it just doesn't taste good when you overcook salmon. Is using oxidized avocado safe to eat? When it oxidizes, it just kind of goes a little bit brown. So if I save anything in the, well, we'll go to the next recipe because this is the recipe I'm going to talk about, guacamole. So to answer your question, Edmund, to try and get, if you made avocado like this with the freshly squeezed lime and you chop in Roma tomatoes and add the salt and the olive oil, oh my gosh, your avocado is so delicious. You might even forget, you know, how much you don't like avocado, right?
With lime and what?
It's so good.
No, I was asking, you said lime and something.
Oh, it's all here in the recipe. Jalapeno you can put for a bit of hotness. Roma tomatoes, those like the Italian Roma tomatoes, they look like ovals. They're a different type of tomato.
Yeah.
They're more meaty than watery. This is a really wonderful, this recipe is right from Guadalajara. Honestly, this is from a lady. I learned how to make this from her kitchen. And to talk about oxidizing, it's not terrible. You just kind of skim off the brown part of the avocado that's kind of oxidized and eat the rest. It wouldn't kill you if you ate the oxidized part. It's not like oxidized oils, you know, when oils get heated too high and they smoke.
Okay.
That's very bad for you. That's bad toxins in your body. All right, stevia drops are okay. Well, stevia is just a replacement for sugar, and yes, it's one of the replacements. Stevia and there's erythritol is one that's out there now too. Stevia is great. It can have a bit of a bitter aftertaste, so you got to pick the proper the stevia that you like, because I always can taste the aftertaste from stevia. If you need the sweetness, otherwise I would just go with like a tiny bit of honey. But if you're vegan, you might not eat honey. I'm not sure if you do. Maple syrup, again, is pure maple syrup. Like here in Canada, we get pure maple syrup. It's so delicious, and it's you know, it's sweet. It's still a sugar. It's still going to affect your diabetes, but it's just better than refined sugar. All right, and then
excuse me, monk fruit is great if you don't like the aftertaste of stevia.
Okay, and there you go, Lil. Monk fruit's kind of one of the new kids on the block. And monk fruit is also very good. And I don't know if it really affects your insulin levels as much. So people are really into monk fruit. So, and that's becoming popular in the stores. So just take a look and see if you can find it. Now, lastly, in the last couple minutes, this is my mother's recipe. Okay. So I'm sharing with you a very special part of my life. This was the first recipe because my mom is not with us anymore. She's in heaven now. My mom, this is the very first recipe she taught me, an Indian recipe to me when I was a kid. Like a young girl. And this takes 2 teaspoons of turmeric. And this is the way to make, if any of you have Indian background like me, this is the way to make a beautiful dal. And it's like a soup, right? A dal, you can see the picture. It's like a lentil soup. You can eat it with bread. You can eat it with roti. You can eat it with chapatis, naan bread. Some of you are familiar with those kinds of breads. You can eat it with tortillas. You can just eat it with rice. And it is so delicious. And I really give you some really good explanation on how to wash your lentils. I say purified water. I just mean like filtered water, like not like clean water, basically. And then I explained to you like the Hindi term called chunk, how you flavor it, because you know lentil soup can be pretty boring in flavor. This adds the flavor, and it's the onions and the garlics and the butter or coconut oil that can that gives it that extra flavor. And you got to cook those things down just right. So I explain it in the recipe here. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. You don't have to take any what am I trying to say? Any notes? Yes, no notes, because you're going to get the whole thing. And I do have that email, the extra email that to send it out to, if I can figure out how to do that on my system. Organic versus non-organic, Lil's asking. Boy, I'm getting some really great questions today. So, I mean, in this class, I mean, I guess I can talk about it. We got we're at time, but let me just mention, if you can buy local and you can buy organic and you have it available in your area, I would recommend to go for the organic versus the non-organic. Yes, there's some foods that are better. Like if you had to pick, I would say there's the dozen dirty. Have you heard of the dirty dozen? There's such a thing. There's a website that talks about every year which foods are the most highly sprayed foods. You can just Google dirty dozen, and it will tell you this year which foods are the ones that are the most heavily sprayed, depending on like crops. And then I would suggest trying to make those ones the organic choices for you. So something like an avocado or banana are a little bit more protected, even though it's in the soil, right? So maybe you're okay eating a non-organic avocado versus, say, an apple. They spray apples hugely. And I can even take the pesticides on the skin. And thank you. John has put the link for us about the Dirty Dozen because he's listening to our class. Isn't that great? All right. Thanks, John. That's awesome. I'm making fun of our support people. They stay here and they look after us for the whole entire class. So, and I'm glad to see you have somebody with you there, Sharon, somebody else listening in on the class. So that's awesome. Is that your mom, or is that a relative? Your mom. Nice. Very nice. And so we are at time. I do like to make sure I've answered all your questions. it's great to see that people bring people to classes. Like maybe they don't want to sign up themselves, but if you can bring your mom or your partner or anybody to come and listen to the classes, you know, they might start signing up for classes on their own too. But it's fun to do it together. It's kind of like, you know, knowledge hour, right? Like the knowledge network. We're here on the knowledge network. Let's see. I'm just reading my little chat here. So if no more questions, I think we're at our hour. We are being live streamed. So, and if you do have other classes you're going to take, I want you to have enough time to get to your next class.
Yeah.
So thank you very, very much for being here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate everybody being here, and just gonna come up with, and great to see you all. Invite friends to class. We'd love to have your friends come. And if you're interested in hosting an interest group, you can do that. Just send an email to us and say what you're interested in teaching. Okay, so I'm going to read a few of the chats before I sign out, but thank you for all being here. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
bye
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'm just writing an email before I sign out of the class, so feel free to sign yourself out. Unless I have, okay, there we go. This is all right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.